This is the VO Life. Positive conversations about living the voiceover life. Insight into the business and day-to-day grind of being a regular Joe VO. From the humble beginnings to the finally hitting a new level to getting that first big client. It's all about that VO life. Here's your host, Troy Holden.
Hey, and Happy New Year. Troy Holden, your blue-collar voice of choice, coming to you with the VO Life today, here in early January as the full-time career kicks off, and I'm excited, and it's kind of odd doing a podcast recording in the morning, but I love it. Absolutely love it. I'm really enjoying this, and I tell you, I've decided unless I end up homeless, I'm not going to give up. And I may be recording the back seat of the car, but it's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy it. I'm really enjoying having the time to do the things I didn't have time to do before related to voiceover, and it's amazing. It's great. And next month I'll do a podcast, looking back on how the first month went and all that. I've got some goals set. I'm not going to publicize all that yet, but I've got some dollar amounts I want to try to make per work day, and how it averages out over the month, and then how to increase and all that, and we'll see how it goes. I'm very curious though, and this is one thing I will share. I'm recording this on a Wednesday, so literally started back on Monday, 3 days. And I typically would get 1 to 2 short lists a week if I was lucky on voices.com. I got 3 yesterday. In one day, I did 13 auditions, and 3 of those got shortlisted. So it's exciting to me because I'm getting them in earlier. If there's 10 people or 12 people, I'm in there. Usually when I would audition, there would be 50 or 60 already in there. And I feel like that may help, but we'll see. I'll track it and we'll see. Hey, today on the podcast, I'm going to talk about responses, and I'm going to talk about the responses when you don't get the job, and we're going to apply that to 3 different platforms and how they should be a little bit different, or how you should manage those and why. And the big thing is why. It's not just the response and what you say. Customer service is king. We all know that, or if you don't, you better. But let me go a little further and to say is in your responses could find you wondering if you're ever going to get a chance to respond to that person again. So let's first look at Upwork. Upwork is totally different. When we talk about Fiverr, I know they're trying to do some things to mimic Fiverr, but I don't think that's working very well. I've had maybe 3 inquiries off of their what I'd call gigs, like on Fiverr, and only one of them panned out. And the one that panned out was a decent order, but the others weren't that great. But Upwork is different because you're filling out a profile thing, and then you're doing a proposal, and you're hunting for those jobs. You're in there pecking away trying to find the better ones, and you submit something, and you hope there's not. Well, if you've got the paid thing, you already know if there's 0 to 10 or 5 to 10 or 10 to 20 or 20 to 50 people have already responded. So what'll happen sometimes is they'll come back and say they need a sample, or they'll ask for the sample up front and with the proposal. And more times than not, you probably don't hear back anything. But sometimes you'll get that message back that says, hey, thanks for submitting your sample. The client has gone with another voice. And that's another thing on Upwork. There's a lot of third-party stuff going on. I think way more than Fiverr, but that's just my opinion. I have no data to back that up other than my own that says 80% of what I do on Fiverr goes to the person who uses the project. I may get 20% through a third party, and other people's numbers may be different. But on Fiverr, on Upwork, it's probably, I'm going to say higher percentage, maybe 60, maybe 40% are third party, 40, 50%. It's just higher. So you get that message back that says, I'm so sorry, it didn't work out this time. They went with another voice. That's not the end of that conversation. You need to end that conversation with a very nice reply that says, hey, I totally understand. Voiceover is a tough business. There's a lot of rejection, and everybody doesn't or everybody is not going to like my voice. I understand, but please favorite my profile and hang on to my contact information just in case you get another job like this that I could audition for, because that's how I, get new clients, is by auditioning. And just, make it nice. 9 times out of 10, they'll respond back with a very surprised thank you, because you have done something that other people may not have done. You were happy and positive about not getting the job. And he may or she may have sent that out to 10 or 20 people, and you may be the only one that responded, or you may not be, but you want to respond. Send that back. I've had that lead to future work several times, where I didn't get it the first time, but the second time they were like, hey, we kept your old sample and we sent it to the client and they really liked your voice and they want to hire you for this job. I've had that happen numerous times on Upwork. So be very, very, very nice to your customers, clients, even if they're not yours yet, because they could be in the future. Now, I want to add to that, I use something called snippets, and some of you may have a software that can do snippets. I use Text Expander. If you do not have a software to auto reply stuff, and they say, well, I can do that already on Fiverr and I can do that here. No. Get this one, because it's very customizable, easy to use, and your keyboard shortcuts take care of that. And you can use a prefix letter like X or Z, a letter you don't start words with a lot, and then a keyword that will pop that message into the message box. So like when I'm doing a proposal on Upwork, I can hit X Upwork and the whole proposal pops in. And I go to the top line and I fix a couple of things. I may put a personal thing in there about their project, but man, the keystrokes I save, and they actually send you a thing at the end of the month that tells you how many times you used it and whatever. And mine's gone way up lately because I use it a lot. But I use that for, buyer request on Fiverr, Upwork proposals. I don't even use the Fiverr stuff. I use all in Text Expander. So when I get a new order, I've got a thank you for that. I've got a, here's your order, here's your delivery one. I don't ever have to type any of that. And that takes forever if you're busy. So I can hit X deliver. If it's Fiverr, XF deliver. If it's Upwork, XU deliver. Voices.com. I use a couple there. They have some things set up in your thing when you bid on a job that'll automate and drop in out of a drop-down box. I use that because it's quick and easy. But when I reply or I deliver, I use my own. So I've got XD voices, whatever for delivery voices. And I keep the list hanging up at my edit station so I can look up if I happen to forget the shortcut, if I hadn't used it in a while. You can also use those shortcuts for links to your samples. So my YouTube link is XTube, and my regular demo that I have on SoundCloud is like XDemo. So if I hit XDemo, it puts up the tiny URL and sends it and ties it to that. And it makes it neat and clean. It just really does. I even have one for my email, X website, where I don't have to type that out, just X web actually. And you type XWEB and it makes this little sound and it pops in the screen and there it is. So go get that if you don't have it. It's cheap and it's easy to use, easy to set up, easy to edit. All right, so now we talked about Upwork. Let's move to Fiverr. Fiverr, a little different because you get those where somebody sends a thing, they saw your gig and, hey, I'm doing this project and you might be a good fit for this. Could you, sometimes they'll ask for a sample or a price or whatever. And don't let that linger very long. Check your inbox every day and look at the correspondence you may have had and say, I need to follow up on that one. I didn't hear back. And follow up the next day and say, hey, I'm not trying to bother you, just didn't hear back from you and just wanted to see what status your project is in. Sometimes they'll say, we're still getting approval, we're still working on it. Sometimes they'll say, oh, I'm sorry, we went with somebody else. And that's when you do the same thing that we just talked about on Upwork. You circle back and say, hey, thanks for reaching out to me. And please favorite my gig so next time you can find me quickly, and I would be happy to provide samples down the road for anything you're doing. That's what I do. I'm a voiceover person, and that's how the business works, and however you want to word it. I don't go that crazy with it, but, be friendly, be nice, put on your customer service hat, and just go overboard, just like when you want to over-deliver. And I'll say with the delivery thing, I'm finding that, there are some thoughts to don't deliver until like 2 hours before it's due, and don't do this. To heck with that. As soon as I can get that project done to deliver it, I'm going to freaking deliver it. I want them to have it. They want it. They paid for it. I got nothing else to do. Deliver the darn thing. I don't think, and I could be wrong. I'm green with a lot of this. I don't think that has any effect on anything other than I got an early delivery badge one time on Fiverr because I kept delivering early. I don't still have it, but I think it's one of those things they randomly assign. So what's wrong with having that? I kind of like those badges, but anyway. So on Fiverr, kind of follow that. Just the thing is, follow up. Don't ever let it lay. Remember, when you reply to them or you send them something, they have that same frame of mind as they've got to answer back because they're afraid to get dinged just like we are on response time. And even though we know it's only the initial notice that has the response time clock on it, people, and I still do the same thing. I just want to respond fast. I don't want that stuff to sit around and wait. So do that. Respond, and they'll probably respond back. If you're on voices.com, I got a couple of things I feel like you can do there that could help you. It's somewhat helped me. But the thing on there is you want to be on people's mind. So maybe down the road they're sending you the private auditions, not just the public invites. You need those private invites, and that's where it gets good. I don't get many of those, but I do hear some of the top dogs talk about how many they get, and it's a lot. It may be a few a day. I'm lucky if I get a couple a month. But how do you get those? Well, probably through repeat business is a lot of it. But here's a theory I'm working on, and if you're on Voices, see what you think. Give it a try. A short list on Voices is a thumbs up. I liked your audition. You're on the short list. You guys know what a short list is. If I'm shortlisted and do not get that job, that goes in my archives and I can see it. So what I'll do is I'll scroll through. So if a job's shortlisted and it's closed, I didn't get it, I will message that buyer and thank them for shortlisting it and just say, hey, I've got a lot of demos here on Voices for different types of voiceover. And if I can ever help you, maybe favorite my profile. Or I think you can favorite the profile. I forget what it's called, though. I don't think it's favorite. I can't remember. I'd have to go look, and I'm not going to do that while I'm talking. So whatever it is you can ask them to do on there to keep you at the forefront, and just tell them, say, hey, anytime you want to send me a private invite for an audition, I'd be happy to help. This is what I'm doing for a living, and I would love to help out anytime I can. What you're trying to convey to people is you realize you're in a game that has a ton of no in it. You get no, way more than you get yes. And I think everybody knows that's affiliated with it, whether they're casting or whether they're putting up jobs or whatever. We all know that it's no. So to let them know I'm still positive about it. I understand how it works. It's a big rejection rate, but hey, keep me up there at the front. You kind of liked what I did, so maybe there's another project down the road that I'll really be a fit for. I just don't want to miss an audition if I get the opportunity. And that's a good thing to do on there. I also go back through my messages or my jobs that I won, and about once every 3 or 4 months, I don't overdo it, I'll message those folks for 2 reasons. 1, if I never got to hear the final project, I'll ask for it. And 2, just to remind them, hey, I'm here. I've re-upped for another year. I'm going to be here on Voices. I'm here to stay. Would love to do more business with you. Really enjoyed what we did in the past. Some things like that. Totally fine to do that on there. Now, there's a lot of discrepancy about taking people off platform on voices. I don't know. I'm going to dig into that and hopefully have more information, and I will share that soon. I'm being told, no, you shouldn't. I've read things on there that say, no, you shouldn't. But once you start communicating with them and the job is awarded, you can tell them your website, you can tell them everything. So I think it's more up to the client if they want to go through the platform or not. So I don't know. I'm going to dig into that a little more and maybe bluntly ask the question. Now, Voices 123, they don't care. They flat out don't care. But I'm going to tell you, this is just me. Other people have had good luck there. There's no way I'm going to clear what I paid to join. And I think I got a discount of $200 and something. I only made like $100 off there last year. It was one job. And actually, the guy came to me direct. He found me on there, but came to me direct and paid me direct. So I'm not happy with it, not happy with the jobs I see on there. I see some decent jobs on voices.com and book some decent jobs. And yes, I still do not a ton, but I do a lot of video game trailers on there, and everybody that's on there knows which ones they are. And there's no secret to it. They put up a lot of jobs, and I don't get them all by no means. I get a small percentage, and I think there's a couple of people in VO Life that are getting some of that work too. It just depends, because every description on every job is almost the same. You need to sound like a passionate, vivid introducer. And, sometimes it says more passion or more this. And, if it's a war thing, a war game, warpath, I think it is. A lot of times I'll try the gruff sergeant or I'll try the military voice and won't get it. And the next time I'll do the military voice and I'll get the job. And the next time I'll do some high-pitched squealing voice and I'll get the job. And I'm like, who knows? But that's the thing with a lot of the overseas stuff. You just don't know what you're going to get. But I've gotten some of my best work there, and I'm hoping I can hang with it this year and keep improving with that. So I hope that was a little bit of help to you, that, the type of responses you should send, maybe some hints there. If you, feel like, well, I'm not sure exactly what to put in there. Do you have any samples? You can hit me up by message or email or through the page. And I'll be glad to share a copy of my snippet with you if that's what you need to help get you on your way. But I do believe that your responses, whether it's during a transaction where you have a sale, or whether it's during a rejection, or whether it's after the fact, your communication and your responses, you're laying the groundwork for more business, and you've got to do that. This is a thing of where repeat is what you really, really, really want. And like I said earlier, this is the business of no. So you're going to be doing a lot of groveling. You may privately cry a little bit or something. That's okay too. I mean, I get real disappointed sometimes when I felt really strong. I got shortlisted on this, and man, I just really, this is a me script. I nail that one. I know I did. It's one of the best reads I've ever done. And then it's not supposed to close until January 8th, and on January 6th, you go in there and look, and you're scrolling through to see if people have listened to anything else, and you go, oh, there's that favorite, and you look over and it says completed. And you're like, why'd they complete it 2 days early? My theory on that is, once they hear the voice they want, they're going to go to it. I would. I mean, I definitely would. If whatever it hits my ear and I'm like, oh, I like it, I'm going to hire that person. And that happens all the time. You may see 90 auditions. They may not listen, to 10 of them, because number 7, 8, or 9, or somewhere in there, they're like, you know what? I don't think we need to listen anymore. This one's really, really good. Don't blame them, because you can get it done and move on. Hey, Happy New Year, and I hope everybody is having a great January. We're having a snowstorm today. I'm not enjoying that at all. It's supposed to be 7 degrees tonight, and those of you that have followed this a long time know I'm going to talk about the weather. It's what I do. But this is not our kind of weather, even though we usually have some harshness in the winter. We don't have a lot of snow, and this is our second decent-sized snow in about 7 days, so it's crazy. But, You're in the booth and it's warm, you got the heat on, and everything's great. So not worried about it. Hey, everybody, have a great rest of the week. My goal is to get a podcast on at least every week. And gosh, I've got 2 great guests coming up very soon. We're actually going to talk tomorrow about trying to pick a schedule and time. You'll be hearing from J.J. Wilson and Linda Bruno. That's the VO gurus that you hear me talk so much about, and their coaching and how I feel like they are one of the best out there and why I feel that way. And we're going to talk a whole lot about their style and what they do and what it will do for you and what makes a good voiceover person and what doesn't. And we'll get all into that with them soon. Everybody have a great rest of the week, and I'll catch you next time right here on the VO Life.
You've been listening to the VO Life with Troy Holden. Check back for more episodes each week and catch up on what you've missed also. This is for you, those just living that VO life. Thanks for listening and join us again.
The VO Life intro is by Louise Porter. The outro by Liz Moya. You can pick us up on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple, and many other podcast carriers. Need to send me an email? Do it today. Troy@troyholdenvoices.com. Thanks for listening.
This has been the VO Life with Troy Holden on Spotify, Apple, Google, and more.